Hello, and welcome to another lovely Tuesday tutorial. We are here again for a really exciting tutorial this week. We're doing another 70s inspired look, which we'll talk more about in just a second. I'm Amber. I'll be taking your questions, and much more importantly, we have our special guest, professional makeup artist and runner of the boutique in Burbank, Jess. Yay!
Hello, thank you for having me again. I'm very excited. I
Of
love
course.
Stevie Nicks. She's one of my favorites.
Absolutely. Stevie Nicks, oh my gosh, incredible for how many years now? I mean, just
Right.
been in the business, still iconic every second of the day. So very excited about that for sure. And I'm so glad that you're back, Jess. Yes, it's so fun to have you. If you guys have any questions for Jess specifically about the look as it goes on or anything else, please just put those in the chat and we'll be happy to get to those. Uh, we already have people that love your Harley Quinn kind of inspired hair.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Natural
I
way
know I
she
normally burn
rolls.
my hair up, I feel like, when I'm on here,
Yeah.
so
So yeah, we get the full effect today. So you're yeah,
yeah,
little
exactly.
little edge, Stevie with a little bit of an edge. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yay. People watching from Berlin and England and all over the place today. So
Cool.
exciting.
That's so exciting.
So cool. Awesome. Jess, do you want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'm very excited. Fleetwood Mac is one of my favorite bands of all time, and the 70s is my favorite decade, so I'm very excited. So, I just kind of started by just having a basic foundation on and some concealer. So I just have like the basics on, nothing crazy.
Mhm.
The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some like eyeshadow primer on my lid, just so when we do our shadow, we can have it pop out a little bit. So you can use like concealer, you can use an eyeshadow primer, anything will really work. I'm using a little bit of a primer that has a little like of my skin tone to it. So it's just gonna kind of create a blank canvas on the top of my lid. I have really dark circles and I have a little bit of like pigmentation on the lid. So I like to really kind of cancel that out so I can have like any shadow that I put on an even kind of keel on it.
Awesome.
Grab a different brush. And I'm just using our
And
eyeshadow brush from the store, from online. I think we still have them online. I think.
I
I know I
think
have them in
so. Yeah,
store.
I'll double check. And if you
But
ever
go ahead.
want to, Jess is doing virtual appointments, which we'll get into more in a little bit. But yeah, you can
Yeah.
always see her at the store, even virtually. So cool. Yeah, you've got the primer.
So I'm just gonna come on top of my lid here, and from just the entire top of my lid, I'm really pressing it in. I don't do swipes because you're gonna get streaks. So into my tear duct and right up to underneath my brow. So I'm just really covering the entire area so I can really see a difference. And I'll kind of sit back a little bit to show you once I'm done to show you the kind of difference it really brightens. So once I'm done, you can kind of see the difference, like it really lightened up compared to over here.
Yeah,
Just kind of
definitely.
creates like that blank canvas. There's like no veins, no darkness, no any kind of like pigmentation on my lid. So it's really going to help you, especially when you're using like bright colors, which we're using more neutrals today. But if we were doing like a 60s look, like a twiggy, like lavender or something, you
Hmm.
really want to have like that blank canvas so that you can really see that color kind of pop on your lid.
And Carol asked a question. She didn't know that there was a Stevie Nicks look in particular, and asked if hippies are coming back into style. And it's true that there are some, there are some of the legendary people that we've talked about in the past that have very specific makeup looks. But Stevie Nicks still, I mean, she definitely did wear makeup on stage, certainly, and in photographs. So we are giving that kind of that bohemian rock and roll Stevie
Yeah,
Nicks sort of feeling. So it's always inspired. You may not look exactly like Stevie Nicks
exactly.
by the end, but it's that sort of vibe of hers. There was still a little edge, still a little hippie, still
Yeah.
performing, all that kind of stuff.
Well, and the interesting thing too, it's more about the 70s like style. So it's
Hmm.
interesting with the 70s because they're similar to the 20s in a way, where
Oh.
the shape for the 20s was more of that like round turned down, like sad eye. Whereas the
Hmm.
70s as well have that round. They just don't come all the way to as turned down to look as sad, but it's very round. So they're very parallel in a lot of ways if you look at the shapes of the different eyes. It's kind of
Hmm.
funny. You don't think about like the 20s and the 70s, but they are similar in the ways of the shape. There's no angles. Everything was, like for lack of a better term, like chill and like flower power, like very like I'm just relaxing. I just kind of like threw on some makeup and some bronzer and I'm gonna go lay in the sun. Like that was kind of the look.
Hmm.
And then like Amber said, with like a little bit of that like kind of punk rock like liner vibe. So it's still kind of like rock and roll.
Yeah, totally. And it's
Perfect. Okay,
and
so I'm
and
gonna
it's
use oh go ahead.
yeah. Oh no, it's the last thing. It's just this is all just fun and inspiration, and I hope it inspires you guys to like have fun with makeup too, to take the parts from the 70s you like and the parts of Stevie Nicks you
Yeah,
like and add it to the new stuff you like or the 50s stuff you like. It's all kind of little tools to use.
exactly. So this, I'm just gonna do a basic like 70s rock and roll kind of Stevie look. So I'm gonna use the Lucy palette, and I'm gonna start just with this brown here. If you have this palette, it's the Band Leader Brown. It's just kind of like a basic brown with a little bit of warmth to it. You want it to be a little more brown than gray, which
Mm.
is like a really important thing with shadows because if you're trying to do certain looks, there's different undertones in every shadow. So with certain browns, they're very orange, or with certain browns, they're very red or gray. So you just want to make sure you find like a neutral brown, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Perfect. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create that round crease. Once I find my little brush over here, let's see. So any kind of like I'll use the eyeshadow brush again. That's fine. Like anything with like a fluffy tip. And what I'm gonna do is really pack on the shadow, but make sure like, you tap it. I always tap it and dust it off so there's not a lot of fallout. That's a good way to not have fallout is like tap it against your palette. And I'm gonna come into my eye here and I'm gonna come here right on the outside of the eye and little baby circles, create a little tiny half circle into my crease. But very tight. I'm not trying to blow this out or anything because we're not doing a super smoky eye. We're just creating a dimension right now. And I'm going to bring it to about the middle. So if you're looking straight at your eye, right where your eye color actually stops.
That's so cool. And this is the thing that really makes it so different is because a lot of our 50s and 60s looks you've helped us with are so much more angular in
Yeah,
creating those shapes.
exactly. Exactly. Because like when you think about 50s, you think about 40s, any of those, it's very angular, very like lift up, very like sultry. The 70s were very much just like everyone was very like calm and just relaxed and just very like happy. So it wasn't about the drama or the angles. It was more about just, I guess, being happy and being in the sun because it's very much like sun-kissed kind of look most of the
Hmm.
70s with like
And
very light shadow.
hmm.
Go ahead, Amber.
Oh yeah, sorry. And we have a little bit of a delay, so sorry that I'm not trying to interrupt Jess so much. I'm so sorry about that. Um, then of course, there's also, the disco 70s and stuff, but like they were all there. And so it's great to have this opportunity to do this more kind of a sun-kissed, relaxed version.
Yeah, I mean the disco is very similar as well to this. They really created that deep crease, and then they just kind of smoked it out a little bit, and then just popped on the glitter. That's really the only difference. It was the same shape. They just
Uh-huh.
loved the glitter. But I mean, who doesn't love glitter?
Yeah, I have to agree. I appreciate glitter in all forms.
Exactly. So you can see that it's like very tight, but it did define my eyelid. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back in with this like kind of rosé color here. It's kind of just like a lighter neutral with a fluffy brush. So I'm just gonna make sure it's kind of fluffy so that I can blend it out. I don't want a lot of color. I just want to really buff out any of the outside that I have so there's no harsh line. So I'm just gonna come right on top of the outside of it, the very top, and in little baby circles, just blend little circles so that I can get rid of this line, but not blow it out, excuse me, so it doesn't look like smoked out. We're not doing like a smoky, flappery kind of look. We're doing a 70s fun. So this is basically like a magic eraser.
That's so cool. And yeah, and that's a really interesting way to use that color, Jeff, because it's pink with a like hint of peach to it, and it's just sort of creating that warmth, not really adding a ton of color on its own.
Exactly. And it's warming up a little bit this brown to kind of give it that warm 70s vibe. Like everything in the 70s was so warm. Like the lipstick we're going to use, the rouge we're going to use, everything just has that like orangey apricot undertone. So it's cool to have kind of pull it all together even with like a little bit of a lighter color in the crease. Because you can kind of really tell that it warmed up my eyes.
And if you could describe it, how does adding that warmth kind of affect the overall look?
So adding the warmth, what it does is it brings color to the face. So it's the same thing with like eyebrows. You very rarely are going to put a cool tone in your brow. You want something that's going to warm your skin up. So adding this is going to give like a little bit more warmth and it's going to kind of bring the whole overall look together. It's kind of like neutralizing the brown to make sure it doesn't turn like too gray because then we don't want it to
Mhm.
turn into like a smoky like gray eye because that's more, if we were doing like a Vampira or Morticia kind of look, but we're doing more of a like fun outdoorsy, like it could go with any color tone. It's just nice and warm. And of course, if you go like too high, like you get a little crazy with the warm, you can just take like this is just a basically like a vanilla colored shadow or any shadow that's like similar to your skin tone. And you can just take that and like in Magic Eraser, just do little circles right under the brow to kind of make sure there's not too much color going up.
And I love that. It's so much easier than having to, wipe wipe something away
Exactly.
completely and then try to blend it back in and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I always use little circles because if you wipe like this, you're not in control. But if you're using little circles, it's working the product in and you can feel it and you're in control of it. So like you get to manipulate where it goes.
And yeah, that's just a light cream tone or a tone that's close to your skin tone would work for
Hmm.
that magic eraser kind of effect.
Yeah, so you can kind of tell that it looks really natural, but you can see that I have a crease tone,
Yes,
you
totally.
know? So then what I'm gonna do, which is kind of fun, is take the eyeshadow brush again, and actually I'm gonna take our warm tan from the
Mm.
compacts, which we still have a bunch of left in the store as well. We have the warm tan, the dark, the cocoa, and the deep bronze, so we do have some shades left.
Oh, great.
But I love this tone. This is such a beautiful color, and I'm gonna take this shade and I'm gonna use it on my lid, and we're gonna use it as a bronzer as well.
Oh, cool.
So depending on like your skin tone, if you're a little bit deeper than me, it's okay. You can use this, or you can use a shade below. Or if you're a little bit fairer than me, you can use the dark, which is a really good shade as well.
Oh,
But
cool.
I'm gonna take the warm tan on my brush and just come right here onto my lid and create just a little line like an eyeliner here, but keeping it round, we're gonna follow that right to the inner corner of the crease. Just a little round horseshoe on the outside to just kind of really amp up to the little bit of the color. And I'm using this shade because the brown in the Lucy palette's a little too deep. And I don't want to use like a black because then it's going to start to get vampy, which we don't want. We're going to use the brown liner for that to really bring that like circular eyeliner, that rock and roll kind of vibe together.
So great. So you're keeping the most of the lid itself and by the inner corners clear or
Right.
with less color and
I'm
just
just coming
focusing
right
on.
in here on the outside and then creating a little horseshoe into the crease. And the rest of my lid, we're going to put white shadow on or that vanilla kind of shadow. because it's meant to be like very open. The eyes were very open. So we're gonna do like a little bit of a vanilla shadow on the lid, a brown eyeliner, and then we're gonna take a white eyeliner to open up the eye. So that's what's really gonna make it 70s, is we're gonna like make the lid nice and light and add some white and then a drop shadow to kind of give us that like rock and roll vibe. I'm gonna take the vanilla shade. So any kind of shadow that's like not too pink. You want it to be more of like a vanilla or like a white with like a little bit of like a yellow undertone. And I'm gonna really pack my brush. And I'm gonna come in and on my lid, on the inner corner, I'm gonna press it in and just put it on my entire lid. Don't go into the crease because we really want to create that crease and lid difference. So our eye will look nice and open.
I had a question from our audience. CM asked that if you have more almond-shaped eyes, would you recommend you create a U following the natural line of their eye instead of the circular kind of shape?
You can't. My eyes are very like almond like shaped, like kind of cat shaped. They already automatically, my eyes kind of lift up. So I'm kind of bringing the shadow, if you can tell here, out a little bit to create that round. So if your eyes are shaped similar to mine or like on the almond side, you can just bring the shadow out a little bit and create with illusion that round shape.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean it's very faint, but you can it's still kind of you can see the shape. It's the same thing with like hooded eyes, how if you don't have like my eyes are deep set so you can see the crease, but if your eyes are hooded and you put your makeup on, you want to make sure you put your makeup on with your eyes open just to find first. So you're going to take your crease brush and you're going to bring the shadow above where your crease would be just so you can create that definition. So when you open your eyes, you'll see it, if that
Oh,
makes sense.
right. Yeah.
Because you don't want all that hard work to go to waste. Like when you open
Yeah.
your eye, it disappears. You really want to be able to see it. So I'm bringing the shadow only on my lid, and then I'm kind of creating another U. I'm not going over the U we just created. I'm just filling in where it left off. So it looks nice and open like this.
And for this, you're patting the color on, not really using
Yes,
the
I'm
little circles.
no, for this I am pressing, I'm like patting or pressing the color and like little like blot motions because I
Mhm.
can really see where it's going and I can feel it. So I can look really close to my eye and be like, oh, I need to add some more here. And then I can just really like almost wiggle it in.
Mhm.
The technique of like the way you apply product is everything. Because you're going to waste product if you swipe and you're going to have lines, you're going to have a bunch of issues. But if you press or you kind of blot it in, you're going to be able to see where it's going and you'll use less product in the long run as well.
That's such a great tip. I think that's so true. I feel like I've done that a million times where I've just wasted by swiping my makeup everywhere when I could
Yeah,
have used
or
half as
you'll
much.
exactly like you'll come in and you'll swipe it on and then you're like, this isn't very pigmented. I'm not getting a lot of product. Whereas if you press it, you're like, oh wow, I can really pick up a lot with just a little bit.
Hmm.
And then I'm just gonna go back in with my fluffy brush with that warm tan and just kind of make sure it stays nice and crisp in the U. And I'm just doing a little blotting motion here. Perfect. If you want to like redefine your crease, you can a little bit, but just make sure you don't blend onto your lid. Perfect. That's about the level of drama the shadow was in the 70s. It was very, very like minuscule. So I'm going to take a brown eyeliner. I'm going to use a pencil first. So I'm going to use the Lucy Brown that we had. But any kind of cold brown liner is perfect for this. So to create that 70s vibe, we are not going to do any form of an angle or a wing. We are just going to keep it straight. So we're going to draw a straight line on our lid. From the inner corner.
And you're trying to
Probably about
keep,
like, oh, go ahead.
oh, you're trying to keep the line kind of thin or,
Yeah, I was going to say probably about a quarter or a half an inch. It can be pretty thick.
okay.
I'm just getting really close to my lash line first. But we want it to have this here. This is the most important part. The tear duct area needs to have that thicker line because that's what's really going to make it 70s.
Mhm.
Is to have this line go all the way down and connect all the way to the end. And then we're going to turn it down instead of coming out like
Oh.
most wings or most liners where we just stop. We're going to turn it down to help with that shape to get the round shape. So it looks just like this, like you're drawing a little hump.
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess I can't think of any other shapes or anything that
A
it would be.
rainbow, maybe?
A rainbow. There you go. A rainbow.
Rainbow,
That's
hump,
perfect.
whichever works. But that's cool. That's so different than what we usually do because even without
Exactly.
a wing, there's usually like a little bit of kind of the upward. That's so neat.
And you can kind of tell too once that like my eye shape, I'm giving the illusion that it's turning down.
Hmm. And the shape of eyeliner, I mean, really can be so effective in
Oh yeah.
changing the shape of your eyes. I mean, it's there's all kinds of stuff with makeup, of course, that helps kind of emphasize different parts of your face, but eyeliner I do feel like is almost magical in how much it can transform how something looks.
Exactly. So I even brought it out a little further since, like I said, my eyes shape up. I'm bringing this down here, and then I'm going to connect it and follow it down a little bit, like an outer, I'm connecting the dots here, just to the center of my eye. So right where your eye hits the pupil, we're bringing it there. So it'll look like that, which is really different as well. But
Hmm.
it's helping us create that 70s like shape. And it's okay if the bottom is not like completely even. We're gonna buff it out with shadow anyway.
Oh, cool. And this isn't your waterline. This is just kind of the regular,
No, right
regular.
below. We're gonna put white in the waterline in a little bit.
Cool.
But see how different it already
Hmm.
looks? See how groovy it looks, I should say.
Perfect.
Right? And then I got a little too excited, so I'm gonna pop a little more vanilla on here. Okay. So then it's really cool though, like how already it looks like my eyes are a different shape,
Hmm.
just with
Absolutely.
the illusion of like this downturn kind of like bronzy tone, you know? And so then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a small brush that I can like really wiggle underneath my lashes. So anything you have that you can kind of like really move under the lash would be great. Not too compact because like you want it to be able to still move the shadow. So I would avoid like a tight brush. I'm gonna use the little brush like this. This is from our mermaid palette from a while ago. But it's small, but it'll still pick up and move the product. And I'm going to do a little mix up of the two shades we used, the kind of like coral tone and the brown. And I'm just going to do this back and forth in the palette to kind of mix those two together. And then I'm going to come right underneath my eye on top of what we just did and just wiggle back and forth to kind of move the liner around as well as bring a little bit of a shadow underneath.
And Jess did this in a similar thing in our Elizabeth Taylor tutorial where she mixed, just like she mixed those two colors, she mixed the dark blue and the dark purple. And it is such a cool way to mix colors. I can't get over it. I've been doing it. It just adds like this little tiny bit of dimension to the primary color of it. And it's
Yay! I'm
so
glad that you
cool.
like it. It really is though, because it's like you're layering it. So
Hmm.
especially if you're gonna do it like how I'm doing it, where I'm pressing and wiggling, it's
Right.
really moving the layers of the colors around. So then you have this kind of a vibe
Yeah.
where it's still underneath the eye, but we kind of blended it out so it's not as harsh of a line.
Yeah.
But see how it really makes my eyes kind of turn down?
That is so
This is
cool.
such a fun look. I love this. It's making me like, I'm all excited. Perfect. Do you have any questions before we keep going?
No, we're doing good. I mean, Carol brought up a fun point of, it's so neat to see these different looks of the decades, but then wondered, what will the COVID era makeup look be? And oh boy, I don't know. That'll
It'll be
be,
like a nice, we'll do like a nice skincare routine,
yeah, a nice skincare
like a no makeup
routine.
look. Yeah.
Or just lipstick on because you forgot you had a video
Yeah,
and
exactly,
didn't feel like
exactly.
completely
Lipstick,
putting it in.
concealer, and brows, and then you're good.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so
Oh,
I'm gonna save the like liquid part of the liner and the white liner for the end because like you want it to stay the longest. So we're gonna do our brows real quick.
great.
So for brows, we're gonna just take our brown cake mascara. And if you don't have the brown cake, that's totally fine. You can use a brown shadow. But I'm going to take a brown cake mascara with a liner brush. I'm spraying it with some water here. And I'm using my little cake tray.
Cute.
And so see the 70s brows were not very like they were very free.
Hmm.
They weren't super angled or anything like that. So I'm just gonna kind of fill in a little bit, and this brown is great because it's gonna bring warmth to my brow. So I'm just gonna come in here and underneath, I'm just gonna fill in any little holes that I have with little flick, like following the hair, but with just little flicks. I'm not gonna create like any massive shape or anything because I didn't really do much with their brows. I'm just kind of making them a little bit fuller. And I'm just using little tiny strokes here to really kind of bring it all together. I have a lot of holes in my brows from like over plucking over the years, so this is a nice way to kind of hide that. And I'm just kind of filling it in the shape of my brow, but not creating any like angle or anything. Just want them to look nice and full.
And I feel like Stevie Nicks often had her brows a little bit darker than the blonde of her hair.
Yes. That's another reason I'm using like a brown instead of like a lighter taupey tone or something, you know?
Hmm.
She probably is like how I am, where my brows are darker because I don't actually have like super blonde hair normally.
Sure.
So my brows are pretty dark just because my hair is not this naturally colored. So she probably just kind of left it instead of trying to alter the tone.
Hmm.
But you can kind of see just from me filling this in a little bit with this warmer tone, how much it really like brought my skin to life a little bit more.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's
It
pretty
just,
much it with the brow.
gosh, that was very easy.
Yeah, it's very simple. I'm kind of like flicking the hair up a little bit too, so it looks a little bit fuller. Like right here, it's almost when like it's before the crazy 80s brow, but it's when it started to be like that fuller kind of loose brow.
Hmm.
And if you got a little too much, it's totally fine. You can just use a little spoolie to kind of buff it out. But yeah, it's pretty simple. Pretty simple brow. And then I have the apricot and the Mary Poppins. I'm gonna mix them.
Ooh.
So for my rouge, I am gonna take my middle finger for both. I'm gonna put one on each finger, or on each hand, I mean.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna mix them like this. kind of tapping them.
Hmm.
And then I'm like doing little circles. I have a lot of weird technique, but it actually really works.
Yeah, so no, it's so cool. I love that. And you're mixing
So I'm kind
it,
of
but
creating
not
this like,
wasting it.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
creating a little bit warmer of a tone. And then once it looks even on both fingers, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna smile because the 70s had a very like very like light blush, but it still was there. And we're gonna just tap the top of our cheeks all the way up because that's kind of where it was. It's like a natural flush.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna smile and I'm gonna come in here and just go like this till about the edge of my eyebrow.
And that's so light, just so gently blending it in there.
And I don't normally like, I won't do this because I really don't want to mess with my foundation underneath it.
Mm.
So if I have it, if I can't get it on with like dabs, if I put a little too much, which this is perfect, but say I did put a little too much, I would just grab a brush and just kind of lightly like press and roll it in. That's what I normally do. So it's like this nice little flush. I don't know, can you see this, Amber?
Yes, it's so pretty.
It's really because it was very much like that sun kiss, like I'm outside.
Yeah,
You know,
because
like you could even bring a little bit over your nose if you wanted to really create that kind of vibe. That's very 70s. So then I thought it'd be cool if we mixed lip color. I'm gonna mix because looking at Stevie's picture, she's very much in that chocolate kiss world, but she also did some neutrals as well. So I'm gonna
oh.
mix it with carmine.
Oh, so real quick
My
to
two
roll
favorite
back
colors. Yeah.
super quick, just to make sure everybody got it. You just use for
Yeah.
blush, you use the mixture of apricot cream rouge and the Mary Poppins cream rouge. So anything with because the Mary Poppins is a little bit deeper than like poppy and apricot and crimson. So that kind of deepness is what you want, and then the little extra warmth of the apricot. So something in that family or something that's warm if you don't have those two colors at home would that
Yeah.
be like a decent substitute, Jess?
Yeah.
Cool.
I just like I really wanted the mixture. I wanted that kind of warm rosy tone of the Mary because it's a little deeper, like you said.
Yeah.
And I wanted that orangey apricot tones. I wanted to kind of get a mixture, but it looked a little bit more natural
Hmm.
than just than just putting one. I love to mix. I mix everything because I think it gives more dimension as well. So I think it's kind of a nice little, a little something different.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm gonna take a lip brush and I'm gonna line my lips with Chocolate Kiss. But I'm gonna line like pretty much my whole lip, just not super in the middle. So I'll
Mm.
show you.
And I'll be honest, I
And then the
wouldn't have
lips,
expected this color combination. That's so exciting.
yeah, they're my two favorite colors. They're my two favorites. So and they're very 70s, so I figured we would try them out. But what I'm doing is I am lining my bottom lip. So just follow the shape of your lip. A little trick for your lip line. If you tilt your head back, you'll be able to see like, oh, it's crooked here. Instead of looking straight on, if you lift your head up, you'll be able to see if your line is crooked or not.
Oh, great.
It's a little fact. And then for the top, she doesn't have like super like my Cupid's bow is pretty pointy. Hers are a little rounder. So I'm just gonna kind of round it out. I'm just gonna follow the shape of my lip, but not as sharply.
Mm.
Just follow it all the way down.
Yeah, Jess is
And a
using
pretty thick
chocolate kiss.
line.
Oh, wow.
Make sure you kind of open to get that corner too.
And here you're not over painting your lips really. You're just following the line and making it a tad rounder at the
Yeah,
Cupid's
so because
bow.
my Cupid's bow is really pointy, but I'm trying to keep it from being that pointy, so I'm just kind of rounding it out. And then you can take it a little bit and just kind of bring it on a little X here, X across. And then do the same thing on the bottom, like you're following it all the way down. So like, so it looks similar to this.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're gonna take our carmine with the same lip brush with the stuff on it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, obviously, I wouldn't use this on a set on anyone or like a different clients, but
Yeah,
on
of
yourself,
course.
obviously, yeah.
Yes.
But I love the mixture of the two. So obviously on like a palette, you could do this as well. But I'm gonna mix them like that. And I'm gonna come in here and I'm just gonna dab it in the middle all the way in all the spots that I didn't get with the chocolate kiss.
Yeah, you're just filling in the blanks.
Yep. And you can fill all the way, you can just kind of wiggle it into the line too so they blend.
That's so cool. That's such an unexpected color.
Right? I
I
love
love
these two
it.
together. Yeah. And then if you got like, if it got a little like it moved and you need to clean it a little bit, you can totally clean it with any kind of brush. I'll use like a liner brush. You can use any powder. Like I just have my refill or anything like that. Then you're just going to kind of come in with the powder that you have and smile and just retrace the outside to kind of really sharpen it. And you can even round it more too.
And you're just using that powder to just clean it up just that little bit more. Is there any
Yep.
kind of powder in particular?
I like to use the like translucents,
Mm-hmm.
the like finishing powders that we have
Yeah,
because they don't leave a lot of like skin tone or like shade.
right.
Like this is just a snow, and you can come in and just like really like hit it hard, and it will look like a magic eraser because there's not a lot of like foundation color or anything, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I love these two together. It's
And
such a like
yeah,
fun blend.
it's such a fun blend. And Sarah mentioned that we did a similar color combination for the pumpkin spice latte look, which is true. But then even that was a little more like liner and then carmine, which is blended at the edges. And this one they're blended together a little more, and it just gives such a different feeling. So even the same two color blend can look totally different depending on how you want to do it, which is so fun, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And so then we're going to go just real quick, pop back into our eyes. We are going to do a little bit of white liner. So I have the Lucy White, and I'm going to let me sharpen it a little bit. So any white liner will do. If you don't have a white liner, you can use a white shadow. Just don't put it in your waterline. Just put it as close to underneath as you possibly can. But I do have this, so I'm going to put it in my waterline. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to just really, really line all the way to my inner corner, like right into here, which is very 70s. And I'm going to fill right above all the way to the end of my eye. I always sharpen my white after I use it on another color so it doesn't get muddy.
That is such a good tip because I've done that before too, where then I said I have white on
Yes.
one eye and gray on the other eye.
Yes. It's tricky with white liner because especially because we do it last. I always just like I go through white liner so fast because I'm always sharpening it, but you always get this crisp tone.
Yeah.
So you want to bring it right into the inner corner too, and then you can drop it down here a little bit. So you have that look. It's so interesting, like how much different my eye shape looks, like adding all these together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. And then I'm just gonna take, I have a little bit of shimmer from one of our old collections. I have the Briar Rose Quad. I'm just gonna take a little of the white shimmer with a small brush. So like, it's the same as that vanilla tone, just with a little dash of shimmer. Or if you have like a white with sparkle, perfect. I'm just gonna take a little bit of that because they did this a ton in the 70s. And they came in here and they popped it right on the inner corner into the tear duct right here. And then followed it all the way to here.
Cool. So just right at the tear duct and then underneath just that little bit.
Yeah.
Cute.
And
I
then
know, I love
mascara,
that.
there was a ton of mascara. So I'm just gonna layer the heck out of the mascara, but I'm gonna use brown and black.
Oh,
So I'm gonna start with the brown, and then I'm gonna do a layer of the brown, then a layer of the black. I'm gonna do a couple layers of both just to give dimension, so it's natural but still voluminous.
oh, fascinating.
Yeah.
And do you think
Are
that
there
the
any
different,
questions or anything?
I'm curious why you like mixing the brown and black, kind of how that makes it look a little different.
I love the brown. I think every single skin tone, no matter how like fair you are or if you have deeper skin tone, everybody needs some warmth to their skin. I
Mm,
always think that they do. And this brown is such a beautiful warm tone that I just think it looks good on everybody. It is very natural, which is why I like to mix it with the black. So it'll
mm.
stand out a little bit more. But I love the way the brown looks on everybody. Even if you don't think it shows up, it really makes a difference. Having that kind of that warm tone. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask,
Oh
and for some
no, no,
reason,
it's
when I
okay.
put this against my eye, I
No,
cannot
please
talk.
go ahead and finish. But I think that's great. Yeah, it's just adding that warmth. So you're getting the kind of drama of the black, but yet that warmer undertone from the
And then
brown.
I never like brush through. I always wiggle. So I come into here and I wiggle my lashes so that they don't clump. And I'm gonna do the bottom as well.
And yeah, if you only have a black mascara, that's totally okay. But if you have both, I think this would be such a fun thing to try of just giving that little extra drama.
Exactly. So that's just with the brown. Then I'm gonna put the black over it. But you have the most important thing with our mascara is to let it dry.
Hmm.
That's the most important thing. Because like if you go in and you rush in through it, you're gonna it's gonna smear a little bit and then you're gonna get a little frustrated. So I always have to give it a little extra time to make sure that it really dries.
Yeah, because it is easy. They kind of just sort of, you're almost just like brushing the mascara off the lashes again. I feel like when you come in and do another layer before it's actually dry.
Exactly.
And you're doing one at a time. So you did just the brown, and now you're
Yes.
putting the spoolie into the black.
Now I'm putting the spoolie on the black.
Okay,
Yes.
great. And you don't have to, we had a question about bending your brush like that. You don't have to bend it like that. It just makes it a little easier to get into the cake, but you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, you can leave it straight. I just always bend it because it's easier, especially for me, it's easier to control it because I can get into my tear duct because it's not broken, it's bent. So I can get really close in here as opposed to if it's straight having to like angle it, I can bend it here to really get tight into this.
Sarah said she's following along and says she used purple cake because that's what she has, which she doesn't recommend. But I'm glad, Sarah, you're giving it a try, trying something different. You'll have a unique look of your own today.
Yeah, there you go. So you can just do a bunch of layers of this and just keep going. I mean, you could do lashes if you wanted. I have the like Lucy lash here, but it's very natural. I don't really think you need the lash. But it's interesting how my eyes turned almost kind of like a greenish color now because I
Hmm.
have so much brown in my eyes.
It really does. The brown will highlight it, kind of regardless of your eye color, really. I've seen it with blue and brown and green. It just like adds a little more light to the color. It adds some
Yeah.
life and brightness to the color, which is a really fascinating thing because the lashes aren't as obvious, as with black mascara, yet that color change is very real.
Yeah. I'm just kind of coming in here and re-highlighting my white a little bit because white does fade.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I mean, if you want to take it one more step, that's very 70s real quick, you can just do like little freckles with the brown.
Cute.
So you can just take whatever like is left of the brown that's still a little bit wet and just kind of come in really lightly, different sizes, different spaces, different places, just kind of all over, and then go back in and just blot them down with your finger. So it'll give you like a little bit of like a natural freckle.
That's so cute.
Yeah. But that, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hey, that's so
Yeah, it's like here's your
beautiful.
like basic 70s Stevie. Yeah.
And yeah, it's that, it's nobody looks like Stevie Nicks but Stevie Nicks, but it definitely gives you just that kind of vibe, that total
Yeah.
vibe of her.
And you feel
So
kind of like rock and roll, but like a chill version.
yeah, the chill rock and roll vibe, exactly. And it's so pretty. And I'm
Yeah.
just think that Chocolate Kiss Carmine trick is so cool. I love that those are in there. And thank you guys for following along. Everybody that's following along is so cool. And if you don't follow along till later, that's absolutely fine. But I love that you guys are trying these out and having fun and seeing what works for you and what you like and all that kind of stuff. That is so pretty, Jess. I love it. Um,
Yay,
oh,
thanks.
and Carol, no, the best eye spoolie won't break if you bend it. If you bend
No,
it,
this one is bent, and I've used this like this is like the 10th time I've used this,
yeah,
and it's still in perfect condition.
that's the best eye one. So it's made flex with a flexible spoolie, so you can
So when it
do it
starts
either
like
way.
this, I always just bend it straight down.
Hmm. And it's totally okay to do. Yeah, that might not be true for every single spoolie you have, so we can't make any
Yeah.
promises on. I don't want everybody breaking spoolies, but for the best MA one, it's
Yeah.
designed to do that. So for sure do that. So that's awesome. And Jess, yes, we mentioned for a second there are virtual appointments available for the Besame boutique. So there are little hidden gems that are available at the boutique that aren't available online. So you can call the store, and I believe we'll be having online scheduling soon, pretty soon. But for now, you can just call the boutique and talk to someone, set up an appointment, all that stuff to get some of those fun things or to get some, individualized tips from Jess and our other experts at the store. Also,
Yeah.
today we have a new fun code for you guys. So I'm going to share a referral code that we made just for everybody for Tuesday tutorials. So it's one where if you refer somebody, you will get 50 reward points and your friends can save. So you can check out the code. It's a way where you can give your friends a little something extra and then also get a little extra back just for watching. So you go to bestmaidecosmetics.com/pages/refer. And I have it in the comments there if you want to check that out more easily. So that's that. Jess, thank you so much. What a fun tutorial. Such just
Yes.
beautiful as always. And such a cool and different thing. Love it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. I love being a part of these, so thank you. It's very fun to be able to share my love of like the different decades and my very long years of makeup experience.
And we're so lucky to get to hear it for sure. And thank you everyone for watching. We're so glad to have you here and thanks for all your wonderful questions. Next week we will be back with Janae. And if you want to hear any more fun facts, Gabrielle has been giving out little teensy clues for new products, all kinds of fun little fun facts in Gabriella's videos on Thursday. So that's Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific if you're interested. If not, we will see you again next week on Tuesday for another tutorial. Thanks. Bye.